There is no evidence that it is in the human nature to be intrinsically violent. The only evidence that humans are violent, not intrinsically violent, but violent, is the evidence provided by anthropological studies, which, long story short, means the human history. So what does it mean? And how to read this contradiction properly without reading it through the use of other beliefs, maybe our beliefs. Obviously, human consciousness is capable of acquiring all sorts of information aimed at creating a mental representation of the world. And that mental representation, which we can call a neural network, becomes a physical presence in the brain, which then the brain adapts to, because that's what brains do. Brains adapt to the way we organize the information inside them. And when the brain adapts to the neural network becomes fundamentally what we will call a belief, which is not to be intended strictly in a way that according to the conventional definition of belief. It's far more complex than it. Could be a way of life, could be a mentality, could be a far more sophisticated construct of interconnected memories, far more complicated than what is conventionally known as a belief. So this factor, the way we organize through our reasoning the content of our consciousness, and therefore we create these neural networks, which then becomes beliefs. This activity is what causes violence among humans. So this is not something we can find in genes. We can find this in memes, in cultural memes, units of culture, for instance, that indeed, when they get stored in the brain without any understanding, without any observation, they proliferate, they grow pretty much like bacterial cultures, like viruses. Richard Dawkins, the evolutionary biologist, in his book in the 70s, he wrote about this. The book is called The Selfish Gene. He wrote about this, and he rightly used the term viruses of the mind. So beliefs in the way we are describing beliefs now, not according to Oxford Dictionary or Wikipedia, or the conventional definition. In this way, which we can easily call beliefs neural networks, and therefore physical presences in the brain, which therefore they have an impact in the psychobehavioral sense, and then in the collective sense. These factors, the information acquired without supervision, without proper thinking skills capable of supervising, overseeing, and reasoning the behavior in our cognition of these things, these are the real factors of the disturbing aspect of the human existence, which means violence, cruelty, the proclivity to abuse, particularly in the area of parenting, and then more in a spectacular way, what we call war, international conflicts, and all the rest of that. Isn't it true that after all, what we call war is practically nothing but the spectacular extension and manifestation of how we organize our reasoning inside our own brain. It is. And it is fundamentally based on what? It is based on beliefs. I repeat, in the way we are describing beliefs, which means mental representations allowed to propagate in the brain, in our cognition, without any supervision, instead the opposite, encouragement, support, which then they become, they can easily be passed to other persons, other people, and then to other tribes and other groups of people. So this is the fundamental factor to really comprehend the human proclivity to all the nasty things we well know: violence, abuses, etc., etc., etc. So it is incorrect. It is also actually scientifically incorrect, or better to say, pseudoscientific. It is pseudoscientific to say or to believe that it is intrinsic in the human nature to be violent. Violence is a part of the animal behavior, and the humans are fundamentally apes. They are primates. So that part is the territoriality and all the rest of that. But if we look, for instance, the society of the baboons, which is intrinsically violent, they are intrinsically violent. There is no organization of violence. There is just a reaction. So instinctual reaction because of the female, because of the alpha male, because of the territoriality issues, etc. There is no planning. There is no ideology of violence, which is instead what humans are quite good at.